My name is Christina. I am a 32 years old who is in office. My husband David is 30 years old too, and he's an office worker. We got married a year ago. David seems a little unreliable, but very kind and independent person who handles household chores without problems. I am the breadwinner of the house. It is rewarding to work hard and make accomplishments at work. My workplace is located in the city where work is performance-based payee. There is a chance of relocation, and I've never seen anyone taking maternity or paternity leave, since it is customary for females to leave the company when they get married or have children. I had no intention of getting married first place because I preferred working in an office rather than doing household chores.
Therefore, when David proposed to me, I told him that I loved my job, and though I was still the section chief, I wanted to move up. I just can't picture myself starting a family, having children.
He proposed to her once, but she rejected him. However, David said and promised me we'll share the household chores and have any children. Since he promised me that, I gave in and decided to marry my husband. We both work, and although we do share the household chores equally, I think we are doing well together. My in-laws tell me to prioritize family work and ask me when I am going to get pregnant and have children. But they defend me, so I don't have to worry about it. Life with my husband is comfortable, and I've come to realize that marriage isn't that bad. In fact, it's actually quite good. Then one day, I received a call from my immediate supervisor, the general manager, and ordered to be transferred to a branch.
What do you think about it? The place of work is a local branch, but I will ensure that you are transferred back to the head office after 2 years. At the new location, you will have the same position as you are now as section chief. And if you continue to perform well, you will be promised. And if everything goes well, you will be first female general manager in our. I don't think this is a bad offer for you.
In fact, I'm not overstating when I say that these kinds of transitions can determine my future at this company, whether I'll move up and get promotions or not. All the department heads and their teams have been promoted for higher positions, experienced transfers, and anyone interested in joining our team is encouraged to apply. They end up and stay as section chiefs, which can even be demoted or be relocated to a boring branch. If this offer was made before I would have jumped at the chance with hesitation. However, since I am a married woman, make this decision on my own at this.
Thank you for the offer. I personally would like to consider it positively. However, if you'd like to discuss transfers with your husband, may I call you back after our discussion?
Oh, that is right. You are married. You can choose whether you want to transfer alone or with your family, talk it over and make a decision. I will be expecting a positive answer.
When I returned home from work, the transfer to my husband.
I am being offered a transfer. It seems like I might be going to that area. If I work hard for the next 2 years with good results, my supervisor has promised me a promotion. David, if you are okay with this, I was thinking of accepting this offer. If I accept this offer, Company 1 will provide me with accommodation either alone or with my family. What do you suggest?
My husband looked surprised, but after thinking about it for a moment,
If you accept this offer, all your dreams will come true, right? I already have a job I enjoy here. Please don't go without telling me.
with my husband's being fine with me alone on my own, I told the company was to be transferred. I would be going alone, and then I will have to negotiate the working conditions details for when I get transferred. As a result of the negotiations, the expenses related to the transfer were covered by the company. The company also provides me with a working condition such as covering going back home to see David and then back to work. which was a deciding factor. Later, I received the formal letter of transfer and moved to a rural area. I was told that I could rent housing company at a discount, so ended there. On the day of the move, my belongings had already been packed and moved by the movers, and my husband came to the airport off.
To David, I told him, "Thank you for me off. I will call you often and come back as I can."
I'll be waiting for you. Don't get too comfortable. You'll be living on your own.
You too, David.
It's almost time. Take care of yourself, Christina.
Thus, I began my life as living on my own, alone working. I had planned to return home during holidays or during off-work periods soon after I started working at the new job. However, unexpected work troubles prevented me from doing so.
I can't work under a female employee. I cannot trust or rely on a random stranger.
I faced a typical rural area problem being a stranger in that place. They couldn't trust me or rely on me because they didn't know me. Just because I was a stranger to these employees, they spread bad rumors about me. My instructions were ignored, and they did me out at all when I have asked for help. Then, a subordinate of mine who omitted me from carrying out this task made a huge mistake. The subordinate in charge turned pale. Of course, this was my responsibility as a supervisor. I had to deal with this situation, apologizing to the customers, and not making up for the mistakes which were made, but also improve the relationship with my subordinates so that they can trust me, so they can trust and communicate more effectively with me. My supervisor, who heard about this, could not see me like this anymore, called me.
I understand what you're going through right now because I've been in a similar situation before where I had to help myself. I know you may think the situation is unreasonable, but in such time as these subordinates wouldn't accept you forcing your righteousness upon them, it is very important to communicate and get to know them well. Also, make horizontal relationship one.
With the advice of my supervisor, I actively spend more time with every branch office to build horizontal relationships of equals. I was not a member of any neighborhood associations, but when I learned that companies' housing was part of a neighborhood association, I joined that as well. In the meantime, I couldn't get in touch with my own family, and I wasn't able to go back to my own home where my husband was waiting for me. I kept in touch with David frequent. After a few months apart, it became to reach him, even if I called him and sent him messages over WhatsApp.
I'm having a difficult time at work. I'm working always until late at night. I was too tired. I fell asleep. Eve, I tried to talk to him. He would say things, and since I was busy myself, questioned David, and just thought.
I was trying to concentrate on my U key, so I devoted myself to my work more. Then one day, since my work calmed, there was this long holiday coming. Abruptly decided to return home to David. However, I couldn't reach David by WhatsApp since I still have the key house. I returned to home without no surprise him. When I unlocked the door and entered for the first time in a while, I felt something was wrong.
And then I heard, "Chuck, welcome home. You should have told me if you were home early.
A woman I didn't know rushes to the front door where I was standing. The woman and I were stunned to see other. It was the woman who opened her mouth to break the silence.
Excuse me? Who are you?
This is my house.
I think you got the wrong address. Check the address. I live in this house."
We had an argument, so we both went to check the nameplate, but the name hanging on the door was the one I had specially ordered, and it is custom made.
Both the key and the door plate are made of brass. I'm sure this is my house, so I'm in.
Hey, what are you saying? Stop barging in my house!
Even though this woman was trying to enter, I still forced my way into the house. Then when I looked around inside one house, everything has been Changed, not recognize the interior. Even my curtain and couch were changed. In the living room, there was a photo of David and this woman at a theme park. On the wall and in the kitchen, a pair of mugs cups I had never seen before. In the bathroom, there was a toothbrush holder that didn't appeal to me, and when I checked the bathroom, there were shampoos and conditioners. The bed sheets in the bedroom had been changed to the bed sheets I didn't recognize. And the closet was full of clothes that I have never seen before. Actually, the closet didn't have any of my clothes that I had left behind. All of my belongings were put away in a storage room, indicating that my husband was cheating on me and had been having an affair behind my back in our own home. As I was in shock, I heard a voice from behind me.
Honey, I am home. I see shoes I don't recognize. Lindsay, did you invite your friend?
I am glad you are back home early. Some random stranger just barged in home and won't go home.
When I saw the man who the woman was, Chuck was my husband, David.
When David saw me, he asked, "What are you doing here?" in a surprised tone.
When did you change your name to Chuck? Can you explain to me what the hell all about?
I asked my husband.
What are you talking about? Right, Chuck?
Well, I'm not sure what you mean by edit, but I can certainly help with any spelling or grammar mistakes.
David seems to not know what to say. Woman questioned him.
Lindsay, his real name is David. It is written on his driver's license. And I am his wife. I'm Christina.
You're lying. Because David told me he was divorced.
David! I'm not sure what you mean by edit. Do you want me to correct any spelling or grammar mistakes in your message? Please explain to Lindsay and me everything we need to understand the situation.
Since you never returned from your place to see me, Christina, I have been very lonely. Since I was so lonely, I signed up for a networking app where I met Lindsay.
I see. Is Chuck your screen name on a social networking app?
Well, that's not true. I thought it would be bad if I was on this social networking app by my co-worker, so I kept my last name but false first name to meet up with her.
And then, why did you lie about being divorced?
In Lindsay's profile, she wrote, "I went to all girls from junior his to college. I've never been with anyone. I am looking for a serious relation, hoping to marry soon." When I read her profile, I was touched by it. So to be with Lindsay, I told her that I was a divorce, hinted that I was only interested in serious relationships, and started dating her.
What? Why would you do such a thing?
Then my husband reopened his mouth to justify his behavior.
It's your fault for always working, returning to our home to come and fix Christina. It's a man's nature to want woman do. From the beginning of our marriage, both worked overtime or sometimes worked on weekends. We've never spent enough time together, and now we are living separately for a while, and now I don't see the point of being married to you anymore. Actually, all I ever wanted was to be in a warm house where my wife would wait for me to come home after preparing my bath and meal.
This came as a bolt out of the blue for me. I had always thought of David as someone who understood me and my work.
But that does not justify you cheat having affair behind my back. What you have done is such a horror. If you wanted to be in a relationship with another woman, why didn't you come to me first and do it in the right way?
Because I love you both, and I could not bear to break up with either of you.
Wouldn't you think if I returned I couldn't hide anything from you? I can't believe it that you tried to hide this from me.
What? It's your fault for breaking your promises and never returned home. If you had just kept your promise and stayed home, I would, and have even thought about cheating on you in the first place.
What are you saying? I already explained to you that I had trouble and hard times at work, and there was nothing I could do about it.
While David and I continued to argue, just turned pale and stood there. Lindsay seemed to understand the sight that she has been tricked by David, married man who had no intention be serious relationship with her.
It was all a lie, wasn't it? You made a such fool of me. I'm leaving this house.
Lindsay.
David tried to stop Lindsay from packing her belongings and leaving the house, but he was shaken off.
Don't you ever touch me again with those disgusting hands. I don't believe anything you say.
Lindsay cursed him and left. I was completely turned off by this and decided to punish my husband. I secured all the evidence I could, brought it back to my place where I was living alone. The first thing I did when I returned home was to hire a professional investigator to find out if my husband was having an affair. The results of the investigation revealed that Lindsay was the daughter of the company where David's workplace G supports from. I asked my lawyer to send a cease and desist letter to David's house and Lindsay's parents' house. Upon receiving the certificate of divorce, my husband protested that he had not divorced me, so I prepared myself for a battle in court. Lindsay has contacted my lawyer, and we have decided to meet at his office. Lindsay came to my lawyer's office of her parents and bowed to me.
Lindsay said, even though I wasn't there, I am so sorry for what has happened to you and that you had to go through this with your husband.
My daughter is earnest, but also a bit shy since she has only gone to all-girls schools and hasn't experienced much. We were trying to arrange an arranged marriage for our precious daughter with a partner we approved of, but she herself longed to find love on her own. She met your husband without our knowledge and thought she had found love, so she went with it without trying to get to know him properly. When we asked Lindsay who he was, she said he was a divorced man she met on a social networking app. We have been warned not to get involved with such a man, but she insisted that he was different and that they had a lot in common. My daughter, who was listening to us and just left our house, was eloping. Since Lindsay realized that she was mistress, she was in shock and blame for it and now seeing a therapist. We will pay you the settlement of $5,000. Please do not tell anyone about this transaction. We are very sorry for what has happened.
Lindsay and her parents apologized.
I accept your apology, but with one condition. I am preparing for a divorce, but my refuses to divorce me, with the condition that you cooperate with me in court for the divorce. Please testify and I will accept a settlement on that condition.
Fine, I will cooperate. However, my daughter is young, so I want her to go to court and have any record. I'd like to cooperate with you in one to punish your husband. What do you? Fortunately or unfortunately, David's workplace is our business partner.
Thus, Lindsay and her parents and I to punish my husband. David's workplace was accused of offending the business partner's ex-wife, and all of this was his wife's responsibility. In the meantime, my parents-in-law, unaware of such situation, were calling me every day to ask about my health.
Christina won't even answer our call, return our calls. She's too focused on her work. Where's she coming back from? When am I going to hear the news of grandson or granddaughter?
Mom, this is not the right timing. I actually had an affair with another woman while Christina was away for her work. Christina is trying to get a divorce from me.
Well, it's Christina's fault for my cheat because she was too focused or paid no attention or didn't call son. Actually, you should divorce Christy. Don't you get back together with Elle?
When David told his parents what his in-laws thought, they believed that Lindsay's family had more money than he did. David's parents started taking sides with his husband, wanting him to get back with Lindsay, and they started attacking her. When David's parents called me many times, and I refused to answer them, they started to call me at my work. When they couldn't reach me on my cell phone at work, my in-laws stormed into the office where I was working and made a scene.
Let go of my son. Divorce him already.
It's your fault that my son cheated. If Lindsay and David get back together, they will be very happy. So don't interfere.
Albert, Cindy, what are you talking about? I am the one who wants to get a divorce, but David is the one who is refusing it. Besides, Lindsay has no intention of getting back together with David anyway. After all, David tricked and betrayed Lindsay, who is the daughter of David's company's business partner's executive. Lindsay's father is pretty upset with the situation, and it seems that there won't be a bright future for David at his company.
As soon as the in-laws found out that he had offended his company's business executive, they started sucking up.
Oh, I didn't know what was really. I guess we misunderstood. I am sorry. My son was very stupid, but he learned his lesson. You'll forgive him, won't you?
I am not going to forgive him. How can you say such a thing? I have nothing more to say to you. Leave.
My in-laws lingered and didn't leave. Security took them away due to violent behavior. My company sued the parents for obstruction of business. I then successfully received an alimony from my ex-husband, and we were divorced. Lindsay also requested for alimony and compensated for the fees of the therapist treatment. David lost his position in the company because he had offended his boss, and he couldn't quit his job because he still needed to pay a large amount of debt. By the time all this was over, 2 passed since I was transferred, having successfully completed my tenure in the branch office. I was transferred back to the head office. I worked harder than ever and got the position of general manager. If I had not accepted the offer for transfer, I might have been still living with my ex-husband, enjoying a married life. However, people like David would eventually have an affair, and I think he has had more conflicts with my ex-EU. I knew that I was meant to work rather than having a family, and right now, I am satisfied with my life, and I am very happy about it.